Ever wondered how impartial the media coverage of the election is? Unfortunately, it's not. You might have seen quite a bit of Richard Tyson, our old racist friend Nigel Farage. He was even on Question Time this week, despite having failed to get elected 7 times and having no parliamentary status. The Reform Party they represent has just 2 councillors in the whole of the UK. The Green Party have 800 councillors, as well as an MP and 3 members of the London Assembly. The Lib Dems have numerous councillors and a number of sitting MPs, but it's always that frog-faced fucker Farage who's allowed to comment. This despite the fact he said he won't be too involved in the UK elections because he's going to America to support his friend Donald Trump's campaign. How very patriotic, Nige. And hold on, you're going to another country to find work? That seems a little hypocritical. If you're a Twitter user, can't bring myself to call it X, you probably noticed a lot of right-wing Tory supporting posts in the For You tab. There's no way Elon's algorithms will push this shit to me based on my posts, so there must be something going on. Angela Rayner's been cleared by the police, and I think the MP who brought the allegations, James Daly, who at the time couldn't even say what he thought she'd done wrong, should be charged with wasting police time and made to pay for whatever the investigation cost. Angela Rayner said she'll publicly release her last 15 years of tax records if Rishi Sunak, Jeremy Hunt and James Daly release theirs. And I don't know why Labour aren't taking more advantage of this line. Bet we won't see half as much coverage of the 4 Tory MPs, David Tredenick, Eleanor Lang, Shailesh Vara and Maria Miller, who also sold second homes the taxpayer paid for a combined total of 5.4 million. Or Tory Deputy Leader Jonathan Gullis, who it's been revealed campaigned with a convicted drug dealer and has received a donation of 10,000 from JCB and then said nothing when they axed 200 plus jobs 2 weeks later in his constituency and continued supplying Russia despite the sanctions. Liz Truss has appeared on the Lotus Eaters podcast run by Cole Benjamin, who famously said to Labour's Jess Phillips that he wouldn't even rape her. This follows Truss appearing on an American show where she agreed Tommy Robinson, one of Britain's best-known fascists, was a hero. Are these really the sort of people we want running our country? Are these the British values we hear so much about? The Tories were taunting Keir Starmer, asking why he wouldn't do 6 televised head-to-head debates, one each week leading up to the election. They must have short memories because in 2017, Theresa May refused to do any. The first debate this time is next week, the second the week after. Rishi is rumoured to be talking to Boris Johnson about election tactics. His advice will obviously be to lie, and lie some more, but I don't think Rishi needs much encouragement there. It's rumoured he might also be talking to Farage. There he is again, like a floating poo that won't sink. Rishi took questions last week from a man who lost his mum during COVID, and he couldn't visit her while Rishi and co partied in Downing Street. I feel your pain, mate. The reply was that he'd just turned up late to a meeting to help people like you. And a question from a student who asked Sunak why he hated young people, to which he just walked away. And in another attack on young people, following on from the ridiculous national service idea last week, they've decided to ban 1 in 8 what they call Mickey Mouse University courses. What that means in reality is courses poorer kids might do, leaving their own rich kids to benefit from what's left. How about arts or jobs people might do because of a sense of achievement? Oh no. They'll be replaced by apprenticeships so normal people's kids can be sold like commodities by companies that are paid to place them, however inappropriate the role is, like glorified recruitment agencies. At the same time, the Tories are offering tax breaks for pensioners, their target voters, surprisingly. This reverses their recent policies, and the massive benefits of pensions will be worth about, drumroll, 28 pence per week. It's not a tax break at all, it's a bribe. It'll apparently be paid for in 2 ways. First, a clampdown on tax evasion. Now, why didn't they do this for the past 14 years? And who was Chancellor for 2 years before becoming Prime Minister? Second, by using funding from the Levelling Up budget. So they've effectively confirmed Levelling Up is dead in the water. These policies are designed to create division between older and younger people at a time when government should be encouraging unity. But division is the way they operate, while they blame the immigrants, blame Labour, blame anyone except themselves for the mess they've created. They've even blamed Labour for a couple of private schools closing down, but Labour aren't in power yet, so it's happened under the Tory watch. Another junior doctor strike's been announced right before the election, so the Tories immediately accused them of making a political point. On the Peston show, Victoria Atkins, the Health Secretary, actually did make a political point by saying her Labour counterpart West Streeting had committed to paying the 35% the junior doctors are asking for, despite the fact he was on the news earlier categorically saying that wasn't their policy. She seems to have forgotten she's responsible for the mess, and if they'd reached an agreement sooner, they wouldn't need to strike. Oh, and another two Tory MPs have switched to Labour. Another new Tory policy, fly tippers getting points on their driving licence. There are already laws in place to cover this, but of course the courts have a massive backlog and the prisons are full. The thing is, you've got to be able to catch them, so having enough police would help. If this can already be done, why isn't it? If it can't, what's the point? Oh, and do water companies dumping waste in our rivers and seas count? Yet another headline-grabbing policy, £30 million to 20 towns. Sounds good until you realise 15 of those towns are Tory marginal seats, so it's blatantly another bribe, which you'd have to be balmy to believe anyway, given their levelling up track history. Remember, these liars have been in power for 14 years, and it's only now they're promising stuff like this. Today, they're also promising £1 billion a year to build 100 new GP surgeries and modernise 150. Now, where did that come from? Why wasn't it mentioned until the election? It's another empty promise. It's the 40 new hospitals all over again. Now, this isn't Tory policy yet, but there was a mass demo of so-called patriots in London yesterday, led by his second mention today, fascist fucktard Tommy Robinson. These people feel so enabled as a result of the right-wing rhetoric from people like Suella Braverman that they march with their Union Jacks chanting, "Who the fuck is Allah?" Oh, and of course getting pissed and attacking the police, because that's what you do when you're proud of your country, isn't it? There's videos of young kids chanting in the crowd, so presumably the parents will be tracked down and the authorities will get involved using the prevent legislation, because this sounds like radicalisation to me. There's a few things you can do to get better informed before the general election. The first, subscribe to this channel and share content. Why not choose notifications while you're at it? Second, listen to a podcast called The Trawl, because politics doesn't have to be boring. Don't listen to the government lies, which is pretty much everything they say these days. Don't let them manipulate you. Question why they do things and how they will benefit. And finally, visit www.stopthetories.vote and find out how to vote tactically to get the fuckers out.